Hello and welcome back to The Vegan Runner. Today we're going to talk about recovery, what it is, why we do it, and I'll take you through my top 5 favourite pieces of recovery gear and how best to use them.
It's okay, I'm vegan.
Okay, I've just got in from today's run, a steady 7.3 miles of pretty soggy Dartmoor lanes, running in the Reebok Forever Float Ride Grow. It's the plant-based shoe that I've been really enjoying recently, and if you're interested in learning more about that shoe, check out my first impressions review after this video. After all of my runs, I've been pretty consistent in getting into the habit of cooling down, stretching, and taking the necessary steps to recover. So, what do we mean by recovery? Why is it important for runners, and what can we do to make sure that we stay fit and injury-free? When runners talk about recovery, they really mean helping their bodies to adapt and change so that they are ready to run well again in their next session. Nutrition is an important part of this, as is the way in which you train, and sleep is another important factor. But today we'll focus on the physical tools that we can use and how they can be best used to aid the recovery process. When we train hard, we are forcing our bodies to change. During strenuous exercise, the fibres in our muscles develop microscopic tears. This is normal and isn't anything to worry about. It's what needs to happen for our muscles and tendons to strengthen and adapt, and why we sometimes experience sore muscles after exercise. Alongside our muscles, or should I say alongside, inside, around and just about every side of your muscles, is something called your fascia, which is a huge web of intertwining collagen fibres that pretty much hold everything in place. Our fascia can also become overworked and tight during training, and it's important for your recovery to look after it. So now you know the whys and the whatnots, let's have a look at the hows. Here's my top 5 recovery tools, starting with the foam roller. This one won't be new to many of you, and if you haven't tried foam rolling yet, chances are you've heard a little bit about it. It's kind of like Marmite, you either love it or hate it, but it is a really super effective tool. Done correctly, foam rolling helps to release that fascia and provide some relief to those sore muscles. You simply roll along that muscle until you find a sore spot, pause, breathe until that soreness slowly fades, slowly rock backwards and forwards again, find a tight spot, stop, breathe, roll, you get the idea. Foam rollers come in all shapes and sizes, long ones, thin ones, hard ones, soft ones, some have ridges, some have grooves, some of them even vibrate, and if you're looking to buy your first roller, it can be pretty confusing. If that's you, I really recommend buying a fairly straightforward one to start with. You'll almost get all of the benefit you can from a straightforward one as you can from the others, and then you can find out before you spend too much money whether foam rolling works for you. I've had this Trigger Point grid roller for about 15 years now. I absolutely love it, and as you can see, so do my cats. If you're an experienced roller looking for something a little more challenging, something that's really going to get deep into those muscles and release the fascia, then I can recommend this one. This is the Trigger Point Charge. It's a lot firmer than the standard foam roller and can get deep into pretty much everywhere. It's pretty intense though, so it's not one for the faint-hearted. There's also the vibrating rollers out there, like this one. They may be worth a try for you. This one is the Hyperice Viper 2. It works like a normal foam roller, except that the vibration is supposed to help quicken recovery even more. It's pretty good. You can use it also as a standard foam roller. You don't have to have the vibration on. It's quite firm. I like this one. It's very powerful. I think it is generally better than a normal foam roller, but not massively so. But these aren't cheap, so if you're just getting into foam rolling, try out a simpler, inexpensive one first, and then check out some of the fancy smanchy ones. Thank you so much for watching. Over the next few weeks I'll be uploading videos on how I use each of these tools specifically, so make sure that you hit that subscribe button as well as the bell so that you never miss a video. Right, back to it. Number 2, the lacrosse ball. This little orange beauty is one of my favourite tools for recovery. It's perfect for finding those knots and trigger points in large muscles like the quads and the glutes, but it's also great for getting into those hard to reach areas like the shoulder blades. And recently this thing was fantastic for getting deep into my glutes, hey yo, and relieve some very tight muscles. I had some tight hip pain. I got this into my glute medius, did a little trigger point work, and the hip tightness had disappeared within hours, which is pretty magic. The lacrosse ball is really easy to pop into a bag, whether you're traveling to work, the gym, or a race, and you can use it pretty much anywhere. It's also really inexpensive, at around £5 to £10 if you're looking for something that can be really specific at getting into those knots. Give this bouncy little beauty a try. Number 3, the footlog. Any followers of Seth Moore will know all about this one already. It's the perfect tool for looking after those much neglected feet. It's kind of like a miniature foam roller covered in lots of tiny, flexible but pretty firm plastic nodes. They're great for getting into the foot fascia and breaking it up. You simply roll your foot over the top of it, making it really easy to apply different levels of pressure that feels good for you. It's small, it's portable, you could pop it in a gym bag with no problem. The build quality is fantastic, and although it's designed for feet, I found it to be a really useful shin and calf roller too. So if you're looking for something pretty small that could do all 3 of those on the move, then this one might be for you. Thanks again for watching. Quick question for you, have you tried any of these recovery tools? Is there one I haven't mentioned that you think everybody should know about? Let me know down in the comments. Number 4, a massage gun. Now I've had 2 of these over the years, a very expensive top of the range model, this Theragun, and a much cheaper version I bought just a couple of months ago to compare to this one really, and the results are quite surprising. I much prefer the cheaper one. It's practically the same, it's much quieter, and it has a far better battery. And also my main bugbear for looking for a new one really was the volume of the Theragun. Just have a little notice of the difference between the 2. Okay, so that's the Theragun on max. Okay, and that's the Ansjek on full power. Hardly noticeable compared to the Theragun. Which was just insanely loud. So between the 2, I'd go for the cheaper model. For me, the Theragun is just too loud. It's a decent tool, it's nicely built, but it's just so loud to use comfortably. And it's pretty heavy too. Also, the battery life wasn't that great. So for less than quarter of the price of the Theragun, you pretty much get the same thing. It comes with the same attachments. I wish I'd bought this one years ago rather than the Theragun. As to how they work as recovery tools, they're pretty good. If you're feeling a bit lazy, you can keep them in a sore spot for a long time. And there is some scientific evidence emerging showing that these tools can be beneficial to athletes. One study I read compared it to kind of like a halfway house for having a sports massage or nothing at all. So they did find it helped in recovery, but it wasn't as good as going to see a physio and having a proper sports massage. But you know, only elite athletes can really afford to do that every single day. So for us non-elite runners out there, these could be a handy halfway house. Number 5, the roller stick. This is one of my favorite recovery tools. It's basically a foam roller that you can hold. It's fantastic for quads, shins and calves. It's nice and compact. Again, it's great for taking with you on the move, and it can also double up as a foot log. It's not quite as effective as the one I mentioned earlier, but in a pinch it does the trick. There's plenty of versions of this roller out there. They're all pretty similar. I like this one. This one's by Physics Gear. It's got these tiny little spinny nodules here. Really good for finding pressure points on those sore spots, but they're all pretty much the same. I've been using this one for a couple of years now, and quite a few times I've noticed it make a real difference to the recovery, particularly around the shins and calf area. Sometimes you've just got a little bit of a sore spot or a tight spot in your calf. You roll this over it for a few minutes and it loosens up completely. So I'd really recommend getting one of these if you haven't tried one already. So there you have it, my top 5 recovery tools. If I had to narrow it down to just 3 essentials, I'd go with a simple foam roller, the lacrosse ball and the roller stick, in that order. The other 2 make nice additions to your recovery kit but are a bit more of a luxury than the others. I hope this video has helped you, and I wish you a quick and speedy recovery after all of your runs so you can get back out there and be the best you. Thank you so much for watching until the end. It's nearly Christmas, everybody. See you in the next one.